Welcome in everyone, Jod here. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io. That's an open source educational platform, career development platform with a tech focus that'll help you learn to code and lead your first or next programming role and grow your social and professional networks. Today, this is what we're working on, the items with the red circle in particular. We're gonna make a Leetcode tool, and then time permitting, we'll make flashcards. This is part of the prep work for a product hunt launch. So Latterly has been through a product hunt launch. We got some positive reviews. This is going to be a second launch. We've made substantial improvements, including the current improvements. So there's a list of 10 improvements. There's going up through step 10 here. In terms of timeline, I am fortunate to have been invited by the wonderful Anna Miller. Anna Miller, all one word, on LinkedIn. You can follow her on LinkedIn. She is a co-founder and product lead. I view her as a career coach, and she puts out a ton of really good career development material, as do I. So she was kind to reach out and say, hey, let's do a LinkedIn Live together. And that is scheduled for May 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you'll tune in. So I am using that as a deadline and working backwards from that deadline so that I can brag about all of the features that we are adding. Okay, so that is, you can continue to subscribe to the YouTube and whatever, and you'll see a number of streams this month where we're working on these collection of items, demo it at the live event or talk about it, and then go to the product hunt launch after that. And we are so early. We are still so early in the Latterly journey. I'm really optimistic because up until now, there have been 0 ads. A couple weeks ago, Latterly crossed 1.5 million views on the YouTube channel. And all of the views so far have been driven by social media content creation. By the way, Latterly has a bunch of material that can teach you how to create social media content for the purpose of professional brand development. And the proof is in the pudding. It works. It works well enough that Latterly is getting traction. Hundreds of users. We get about 10 users per week at the current run rate, but that run rate is increasing. It's non-linear. So I think we'll be at 1,000 in no time. But after the product hunt launch 2, I'm going to draw the line on organic sourcing, and I'm going to start running ads. So we are so early in the journey because once I start running ads, I expect to have many people sign up. So I hope you'll be one of the early ones, and that means that if you provide feedback on the things that we're doing in the near future, your feedback can be incorporated into the tool to benefit many people. And remember that Latterly is open source today. So you can check out the GitHub right here. Check out the issues. You're welcome to contribute. We've had a few contributors, and more is always welcome. But you can also just drop a comment or shoot me a DM with feedback. And you can join the Discord for free and come chat over there. Hundreds of people on the Discord. You can just grow your network for free by joining and connecting with people. Okay, that gives all the context. Let's get into it. So the brand name I'd like to use is the Latterly Kata Leetcode 500. There is a blog article about this, Grow blog. So the standard kata is only 15 problems, or it's 14 problems. I like that. That can mean 2 a day and you can knock it out in a week. The expanded, so it's about 15, it's 14. The expanded goes up to 28. And these are really good beginner-friendly regimes. I think they're industry-leading in terms of beginner-friendly regimes, better than the Leetcode 75, Grind 75, better than all the others for onboarding. But they're at a disadvantage in terms of volume. And for years, I thought that this was actually good. We can cover all the patterns with a consolidated problem set. So why wouldn't you use us? Well, it turns out there's good research from interviewing.io which says, okay, you cover the patterns, but literally just brute forcing more Leetcode problems is also associated with better interview performance. And so then, based on that research, we want to adapt our plan. And I thought, wow, we need to go for more volume. And so that's where the concept of the Leetcode 300 to 690. 690 is kind of a meme. It's like doing too much. But the 500, and I'll probably delete this 420. I ran a poll and it wasn't very popular. But the others were celebrated. So the 500, and I'll probably also get rid of the 300 just because it's too many things to talk about. So I really want to orient the brand around this laterally 500. And in a previous stream, I collected the union of some important problem sets. Okay, so here's all the data, and if you run the union, this is from like Sean Prashad's 14 patterns, the Leetcode 250, the Grind 75, the ladder Leetcode. If you union all of them, it ends up being 493 problems technically. So for today's stream, we will move forward with that list. I will be finding 7 more problems and adding them to the list, but I won't bore you with that research during the stream. That's the kind of thing that can be done off stream, as well as writing blog articles that can be done off stream. So it's called the 500, but we'll be moving forward with a list that's currently constituted of 493 items. Okay, that's just kind of like a note. All right, so let's dive into Cursor here. And I have we'll work on this issue ID. So I'll make a feature branch. And we will call this the Leetcode tool, the latterly Leetcode tool. Okay, so I'm going to reset hard on origin main. Everything's up to date. We'll push up the branch, but there will be no changes. Everything's up to date, good. And I'll start a new fresh chat, and I'll bring in the AI instructions. I know that these are fresh because I regenerated them. I can probably consolidate the migration stuff, yeah? We'll do that for some other time. I regenerated the instructions at the end of our last stream, so it's representative of the tip of tree of the main branch. Okay, so with these instructions, what we'd like to do, I envision this being put under the new grow dropdown. So we have blog, copilot, job search, and now I want to say Leetcode tool. So I'll go to my code, Control-Shift-F, look for job search, look for this magic string, and a whole bunch of stuff comes up, but I want to skip the markdown files and the JSON files, and I want to look for, I can actually just look for .tsx. Okay, we get a smaller set here. And the component is the top nav submenu. Here we go. This is the one we care about. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. We'll keep it in alphabetical, so this will be the Leetcode tool. Okay. And let me start up a dev server. We're pinned to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I prefer to use a pinned model. We're in Cursor using the composer. And what I would like to do is create the file and then have Cursor populate it. So if you ask Cursor to create a new directory, I'm on Windows, it has a problem with that. It tries to invoke commands through PowerShell in the composer, which is a real pain point. So here I'll make a new folder, and this will be called Leetcode. I'll even call it Leetcode tool. I'll call it Leetcode tool right there in the URL. Next.js uses file-based routing, so by calling the directory Leetcode tool, the URL literal that the user visits will say Leetcode tool. Okay. Now I'll take a reference page over here, and I will say refer to the job search page, job search page component. So it's the file name, but it's also the component name right here. Export default function job search page. This is both a function and a component. That's kind of what React does, is it allows you to declare components as JavaScript functions. So I'm going to say refer to the job search page component. Let's create a new Leetcode. Leetcode has a lowercase c, right? I'm 99% sure, but let's verify. Okay, well, I was 99% wrong, so that's a bummer. Okay, so we'll call it the Leetcode tool page. I'll just go with that for now. And then we are going to want to review our schema, Prisma schema. And I have a model for checklists. And what I want to decide is whether the existing entity satisfies my need for the Leetcode tracker tool. So what I'd like the user to be able to do is they get a list and they're able to say, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Last completed date could be interesting. Which we could hack with this checklist item. So the checklist item has like a complete status. Oh no, there's the user checklist item. So checklist items are like the templates, and then the user gets their own specific copy, and the user checklist item is the one which says, has this user completed this item? So here's the isComplete Boolean. Updated at effectively represents last completed at. So we could use that, or we could create a new property here, or we could have a totally different entity. I would prefer not to create an entity set specific to Leetcode. So, okay, so the person can say, hey, I've done these problems. Then I'm going to want to be able to provide them an order. So I want an order ID. And then I'm going to want to be able to pull a random problem. So they can practice in order, they can practice randomized. What else would I want to do? And then I would want to be able to tag these items by kind. So Leetcode problems notably come in groups of patterns, right? So like this problem is breadth for search, depth for search, string manipulation, whatever. So I want a kind property. But I'd rather extend the existing model so that a user checklist item could be tagged. But no, we would want to tag the checklist item, not the user checklist item. Okay, so we can handle this, and we can hack on the updated at or create a new column. Basically, our desire is supported here. So let's go back to the checklist items. Do they have, excuse me, an order ID? And do they have tags? So we have the display index. Yes, we effectively have an order ID. That's what the display index is. And I don't see tags on here, but we could just add them. So I think adding tags to this list is a much cleaner solution than making a whole new entity set. Okay. So let's make it work and then make it work better. So for now, I'll say tags is a list of strings. All right, so we'll go forward with this. npx prisma generate, npx prisma db push. So we've added tags there onto the checklist item. I'll run my server again. In the meantime, Cursor made this stuff. Let me go ahead and stage the schema change. I'm getting some lag from Cursor. What a bummer. Okay. So feet tagged, taggable. Are there two G's in taggable? Taggable items. Okay. So this looks a little different, huh? Where's the push button? Okay, there's my ellipsis where I can get to the push button. Good, so it went ahead and created this route. And wow, look, it's reading it out of the Leetcode problems JSON. That is amazing. Let's see if this works. That's super hacky, isn't it? So now I'll go to localhost. I don't want to ship it that way, but for now it kind of works for development. I don't want it to go to prod reading JSON out of my stuff. Here's the Leetcode tool. Okay, all sources. Look at this. We can filter by source. Oh, isn't this interesting? Three sum closest and three sum are two different problems. Yeah. Featured in multiple lists. 117 items are featured across multiple lists. That's amazing. 123 problems from the expanded kata is not accurate. That is not accurate. There should be at most 30. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I know what it's doing. It's saying, are you from the laterally expanded kata or multiple? So that's why it's adding like 100 problems that shouldn't be there. All right, well that's easy enough to fix. That's fine. So basically the source, I need to be able to do that there's multiple sources here. Like, instead of saying multiple, so currently it says multiple, it should specify wish lists. It should say like, you know, Prashad and laterally. So I'll do that later. I think these can still just be tags. So we could have source tags. Okay. Top nav sum menu looks good. Leetcode filter control. This stuff seems fine. Okay. So the feature here is Leetcode page. Let's make sure we handle the mobile menu drop downs and the mobile page. Okay, mobile menu content. So we would like to add mobile grow. Here's the grow menu items. Under the grow menu items, oh wow. Yeah, we already have the Leetcode tool. So is mobile already supported then? That's cool. So if we look at the mobile menu, expand grow, now we have the Leetcode tool, even on mobile. Great. All right, so mobile's already good. Now what I want to do is I want to refactor this. So let me send it the schema. Let's refactor the code to implement the Leetcode problems as a model checklist. The source data becomes a checklist item dot tag, like with a value like source multiple. And we'll leave that for now, and then I'll fix it offline. Okay, we'll just say that for now. Claude says, I'll refactor the code to use the existing checklist model rather than reading from JSON. That's exactly what I want. We're also going to need to construct the seed. So while it's working, I'm looking under the seed utils here, checklist JSON. This we can consider a premium checklist. So let's make sure that the page says authenticate require premium. Great. So it created a migration script over here. Cool, so I just moved it. Let's implement these items using a database seed script instead of a migration script. So here's seed votables. I'll move it in there and I will rename it seed Leetcode problem. Seed Leetcode problems. I'll just call it seed Leetcode checklist. I moved the migration script and renamed it. You can refer to the other migration script for an idea about how to refactor the code. So what do you think, chat? How's it going? Cursor is autonomously updating the seed file appropriately. We love to see it. So I'm going to stage these. Delete that one. And I'm not going to commit them yet. I want to see it work before I commit it. Let me review the seed. When I look at the seed code, what I want to make sure is that if I run it multiple times, the checklist is not multiply created. Okay, so we export the seed function here. It's going to start. We resolve the path. If it doesn't exist, file path does not exist. Why would we continue to seed in that case? Oh, continuing to seed other data. Skipping Leetcode seeding and continuing with other seeds. We could break that into a multi-line expression, but whatever, it looks fine. Okay, so we're skipping the Leetcode seeding and continuing with other seeds. That's an appropriate action, I like that. Now, if we read the file, if we find it, we have this Leetcode problem type. Yep, good. So it defined the interface for me, thank you. Check if a Leetcode problems checklist already exists. Thank you, that's what I wanted to see. So if it already exists, create a new checklist with updated version if it already exists. Only create a new checklist if one doesn't exist or if there are new problems. Okay, so if there's not an existing checklist, we create it, great. Otherwise, we'll skip down. Well, it seems like it's skipping if a Leetcode checklist already exists. Only create a new checklist if one doesn't exist. It says, or if there are new problems, but I don't see that logic taken into account. So only create a new checklist if one doesn't exist. I'm fine with that. Good. So I want to run my seed file again, the full seed file. So let me check on the votables as well. Check if any fields need to be updated. Good, okay, so it's doing the thing. Let's try to run it, npm run. What is it, db seed? Laterally 3 package JSON. I don't see a seed script. Interesting. Let me look at the old Blitz app. So here's the old Blitz app, and then we have seed was using Blitz DB seed. Got it. Okay. DB seed is going to be Prisma DB seed. Good. So seed in place does not create a new version. It just updates the if there's like a new problem, it will update the existing checklist by ID in place. And I typically prefer that, rather than creating a lot of unused orphan versions. Okay, so DB Prisma seed, let's try it. npm run db seed. So Prisma doesn't like my syntax here. Okay, so I'll say previously I had two options for seeding. One passes an argument to the seed script. Should we use an infar instead, or can we support something similar? Current approach is a good practice. Oh, no. I don't want you to. Please don't enhance the Leetcode script. Simply tell me whether the argument will. You know what? I'm just gonna not. Based on that response, the seed in place should be working. Let's try it. So it's saying we need TS node, but I don't think it understood. I actually didn't expect that we need TS node. Oh, it's going to use npx. Okay, that works. That works. Unknown file extension. Okay. It's going to install it as a dev dependency. Okay, I'm okay with that. So it's still trying to use the tilde here. And it's failing, which indicates that the tool is not loading my TypeScript config. So it's going to make a new tsconfig.json. Where is this? This is inside of the Prisma module. So I'll say it's now installed as a dev dep. Please confirm this only applies when running seeds and will not impact the Prisma runtime setup. Bad Wolf on YouTube. Hey bro, how are you? What's going on? Thanks for being here. I am not expecting this approach. I'm not expecting a seed.js. So the issue is the tilde resolution. And we have an extended tsconfig just to resolve the tilde. Thanks, what are you building? We are building a Leetcode tracker tool. So you're able to practice Leetcode and then give yourself like a cadence of practicing. And you can measure your performance iteratively and make sure that you're doing better over time. Well, I could just import this differently. It works fine. Why is the process unable to resolve it? This is really weird to me. Okay, so package.json is not referring this doesn't seem to resolve our tsconfig files. Oh, you know what? It might be assuming. Are you assuming that I run the npm run? It might be assuming that I'm running this from a particular directory. No, dude, no. I would like to specify for the I would like to resolve the tsconfig by specifying its path rather than creating a new seed file. We can do MJS if needed, but I'd like to avoid that. The type is module here. That could be creating the issues. So let me look at the old Blitz approach. And it doesn't say type module. Okay, so that's going to be a difference. We're doing module level scoping. Which might mean we need an MJS. The seed command has been executed. Well, if this worked, it worked. All right, let me check my database on the other screen. I don't see a new checklist is created. That's okay though. Oh, but Supabase says we are currently investigating a technical issue on the Supabase side. Storage not accepting third-party time JWTs. That's irrelevant to me. Okay, so I still expect the Leetcode checklist to be created. Let me check the name of this thing. I can make a guess that here, this console warning is just not propagating up. So let's see if I throw an error if it acts differently. No, it still continues. This is true, but why then did I see no error nor the expected log about skipping Leetcode seeding? So I think the TSX process I think it's swallowing logs. So while it does that, I'll pull up ChatGPT and investigate the same issue. We could have been using TSX, yeah? Why were we using... That won't work. Why did we use npx tsnode instead of tsx? And here I'll tag the web. Check for swallowing logs with Prisma and TypeScript. Do we need to install TSX? I thought I already have it. All right, I'll install it explicitly. That's fine. Miguel, what's up? Johnny, my brother, what's going on? Rahul says TSC-B should work. All right, let's try it. This is not getting us a lot of progress. Yeah, we could use Winston. That feels like overkill though. Okay, is it because I'm running it on Windows? Log level debug. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm really surprised that Cursor is struggling to find that. Here, oh, it's doing log level verbose. We need to NPX TSX, really? All right, let me try this. I'm not expecting that I need to NPX TSX. I should be able to just TSX. Okay. Yeah, so it says it's working. Here's my code in package.json. I see the following, which is unexpected. And this is fun. We will be able to compare chat 4.0 with cursor, and I'll try one more, and then we'll come back to TCB. But I want to check out what Gemini has to say here. Export default seed. Okay. Should we be running seed instead? Sup, bro? Sup, bro? Okay, we do get sub, bro. Okay, I don't know that it's running our seed, even though we're exporting it. I think that's the main mistake. We'll see. I think I should actually just be calling the seed function. I think exporting it was a carryover from the old Blitz framework. Prisma's seeding mechanism expects the seed script to execute the seeding logic. Yeah. Yep, okay. So that's basically the whole issue. Cool. Manual code written, not vibes. It's a mix. It's a mix. Async function main, const seed async. Whatever, those will be equivalent. I'm using cache, what? What do you mean, dude? Expected finally, but found seed. Just rewrite it all in Rust. I mean, at this point, catch or finally expected. There's something wrong with that syntax. TSX doesn't support top level await. Got it. Okay, that's fine. We can make a main wrapper. No problemo. It's still complaining about the... It's still complaining about the async function main. I see the same error on async function main now. Candy, what are you making exactly? We're making a Leetcode tool, and currently we're trying to seed the problem list into the database, and we're having trouble on the seed syntax. Oh, okay, hold on. This function is, okay. Dang. I had a missing brace earlier. I had a missing brace earlier in the flow. That was the issue. Let's go. That's actually a green flag. Like a tool to help you with Leetcode? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so this, Starting seed votables, let me stage that. Okay, so we'll keep that. I don't need this debug script. Cross env, I don't need cross env. TSX, we can keep it, I guess. So we'll stage this. I'll regenerate a fresh lock. This tsconfig, I'm going to control AXS, and I'm going to attempt deleting it, but we might bring it right back. So this is in the Prisma folder. So let's delete that. And we get the same error. Okay. So I'm cool with deleting that special config, which I don't expect that I need. And now here, this bit. Now we're actually into a syntax issue, right? This, I want to cancel this. Just wondering what other things have you made. I'm just trying to find something cool to make. I'm 18. This is my first thing, so I have no clue where to start. Make a blog, dude. Yeah, go to latterly.io. It has a step-by-step checklist. So what we're doing right now is not the stuff you should be starting on, for sure. But if you there's the checklist right here, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. The video is right here. You can watch that video, and you want to make a blog, basically. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for being here. You can join the Discord under the community. Ask people questions there. Yeah, it should be fun. Don't stress about what I'm doing right now. You don't need to worry about seeding a database. Okay. Yeah, a blog. Do you know what a blog is? Candy, do you know what a blog is? Yeah, but kind of boring. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's boring on purpose. So you could study business topics or you could study technical topics, and trying to learn both at once makes the problem harder. So we intentionally pick a boring problem that you already know what the website is supposed to do so that you can focus on learning the technology. Does that make sense? It's like my own website where I can post stuff or blog about it. Yeah, 100%. So you build something you already know what it's supposed to do so that you can learn the technology. Once you learn the technology, you can go make something special. But start boring. Pro tip. Start boring for sure. Candy says, I have a Raspberry Pi. I know some stuff, but like I'm not a pro. I've made my own website with HTML5. Cool. Yeah, that should be your first step. So the first step is use HTML. Second step, and you want to use CSS with that, right? Make it look a little bit different. Third step is you want to add some JavaScript. So have you gotten that far? Have you gotten to the point where you have a HTML form, a form element, and you can use JavaScript to insert a new blog into the page? So dynamic HTML. Have you done that? I have no clue what I'm watching on your stream right now. Yeah, that's okay. It's like a year down the road. It's not a big deal. Like, don't stress. So the way it works is, let's say that you have the blog, right? It's plain HTML. Second step is you want to make it dynamic HTML using client-side logic. That means in the browser, the person can add a new article, but if they refresh the page, it gets wiped out because it's not being saved to a database. So third step is you go full stack and you actually save that info in a database. And then what we're doing right now is like step 4. So after you have a database, instead of just using client-side logic to update that, you actually want to do offline seeding. What we're doing is offline seeding. So we're using the command line and scripts instead of using a user interface to enter a bunch of stuff. I wish I had any clue what you're saying. That's okay. I mean, just don't be in a rush, man. You can learn everything I'm saying, dude. It just takes time. Let me show you this. No, you're not cooked. Don't be panicking, gang. Don't be panicking. That's weak. So like I said, come over to the Discord. That's solution number 1. Solution number 2 is you can just ask ChatGPT. Do you have ChatGPT? Or you can use the Latterly Copilot. That's like our version of ChatGPT. And you just ask questions. You just ask it questions. You're only cooked if you quit. You're only cooked if you give up. Okay, we're finally getting rid of the linter errors. There's an extraneous import here. Yeah, I have the paid one. Perfect. So just talk to that thing, man. And you can talk to a human if you can talk to a human as well. Let's go, dog. Let's go. Ugh, invalid votable type school. That's fine. I think I just made an extra thing that I don't want. Oh, they're implemented as votables. No, they're not. Okay, that doesn't matter to me much at all. That doesn't matter to me much at all. Prisma, schema, latterly, votable type, enum. We're gonna add school. Okay, so we add support for the votable type school. It's really doing a lot, huh? Okay, I guess that's... Sheesh. I guess we had to do that. And now I have a Leetcode problem checklist. Check this out. Boop. Leetcode problem checklist. So should you make after a blog? What should I make after a blog? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get a job immediately, or are you trying to go to college? So you got to work backwards from your goals, right? You could just start interviewing like right after that, or you could make a passion project, one that's more personal to you and your background. Have you ever had a job of any kind? Have you worked at like the grocery store or coffee shop or anything? By the way, random question, are you married and how do I get girls? Yeah, I'm married. I've been married over 10 years. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. It's real cute. I played football. She was on the dancing team. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. How do you get girls? The first thing you do is, it's going to depend. Like, you can just be good looking and just talk. That's one thing you can do. Just not be awkward. Just talk to people. Just make friends. Like, just talk to people to make friends. Don't even try to date them or anything. And if you have like 10 friends who are girls, then they're going to try to hook you up because that's what they do. Someone always wants to play matchmaker. But the other thing you can do is just like get a stable job and get involved in some social groups and meet people that way. That's like the more, whatever. That's like another way. I just want to make something cool. There you go. That's right. But one step at a time. You got to do the boring basics so that you can get good, and then you can literally make anything you can imagine after that. You can make a game. You could make an audio, like make songs. You can make art. Candy says, I worked at a pharmacy tech, got 21 an hour, but I quit in 2 months. I bought a PC and a car. It's giving 18-year-old, bro. IDRC. You gotta break it down for me. Oh, you mean I don't really care? Is that what you're saying? I don't really care? Yeah, the reason you don't care is because you don't know how hard it is without college. That's the reason you don't care. And that's fine. You can do it. You can do self-taught. It's going to be really hard. And then maybe you'll reconsider. I would go back and work as a pharmacy tech if I was you. Can you do it part-time or it has to be full-time? So here's what I would do. I mean, I don't know your life, but here's what I would do. I would get a job, and then I would be working to code after work. I would do school or projects. It sounds like you want to do projects. Cool. So the solution is time box it. Don't let that drag on for years and years. I feel like it's so easy to get into college. It is. I'm not even majoring in CS. You don't have to. I didn't major in CS. You can major in business. So from the employer perspective, right? They just want to check a box. Do you have a degree? Now, it's true. Some employers care about the school you went to. Some employers care about the field of degree. But actually, the majority don't. The majority don't. That's going to be a bigger deal if you're looking at big tech, like you want to go to Google kind of thing. But by the time you got 3, 4, 5 years of experience, they don't care about the degree anymore, even at Google. So it's really an advantage if you want to go to Google immediately. And that won't be your path if you're skipping college, basically. Hey, so what you should do if you want to be my dad told me to major in econ. Yeah, I have a degree in econ. I don't have an option. He is sending me back to London. Okay. Ryan Dickinson is someone who graduated with a CS degree. So far, my student loans are crushing me. If I would have done it over, I would have not gone to college. You say that, man, but it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. In 2025, try getting a coding job without even an associate's degree, nothing. I understand the student debt thing, for real. And college is not the only option. You can do a coding boot camp. Even an associate's degree is going to really help you. If Candy goes back to work as a pharmacy tech, they can get their employer to pay for the degree, zero out of pocket. You can work at Walmart and go to college for $1 a day. Did you know that? So the fact that college is expensive does not directly mean you shouldn't go to college. You need to do some additional thinking. One is, it can be expensive and still be a good investment. And two is, it can be expensive and then you can get other people to pay for it. Candy says, I mean, going to a cheap college is smart though. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's advantages to like Princeton and Yale and stuff, but the return on investment, if you can't get a scholarship, the return on investment is not that big. If you can get a scholarship, the return on investment's great. But a state school, the bang for the buck in the state school, you get in-state tuition. It's a really good return on investment, actually. You can try a boot camp. It's a bit of a gamble. I have a PhD in economics. I studied boot camps. Please don't go to a random or average boot camp. You can book a call with me. All right, I'll sell myself a little bit. I was trying to give you advice so that you could do it on your own, but if you want to be complicated, you need to deal with an expert, all right? So book a call with me. We can give you really detailed and personalized advice that's going to maximize your specific return on investment tailored to your situation. Here's some of the tips you're going to want to look for. All right, building a quality portfolio. I already told you about this, but I can walk you through it. I told you about the Big 4 projects. Now we're talking about identifying a substantive program, okay? Here are your options. You can go to college, you can go to a prestigious boot camp, and then you can do some other stuff over here. Going it alone is a terrible idea. So self-taught is great, but teach yourself and remain in contact with other humans. You'll thank me later. Bro, you're trying to farm money from me. All right, no, forget about it, dude. I'm trying to help you, but if you're gonna do that, just forget about it. That's so ridiculous, dude. I literally tried to give you all the information before I brought that up. Oh, man. 18-year-olds, dude. Yeah, if you don't want to go to college, I mean, whatever, man. I said you should go back and work it as a pharmacy tech and have them pay for it. That's really annoying, dude. That's real. Like, you're gonna ask me and then you're gonna like mischaracterize me. That's really annoying. I'm trying to help you out. Okay, so we got this. Like, I'm literally live streaming and encoding an open source platform that's free, and you're saying I'm trying to farm money. Ridiculous. All right, so let's look at this thing now. So we go to the Leetcode tool. Here we go. And now I can check these boxes. And now the question is going to be, if I refresh the screen, do they remain checked? Boom, they do. Okay, so let me look at my database. I'm expecting that I have a user checklist now for my ID. Cool, yeah, I think we got it. We got it. Well, we got the basics now. Let's see what the build is doing. I said it as a joke. Yeah, no, that's on me. I got triggered. Like, I am on social media a lot, and people say stuff like that, and it really irritates me. Because I've been working on this for years, and I'm giving it away for free, and like, it just irritates me. Yeah. No, you're right. I got triggered. Plus, I'm tired. All right, so we had a successful build, we had a failed build, and now the current one. What's going on with the current one? Problem is possibly undefined, okay. This is going to be line 122. I think the link URI can just be, is it required? Yeah, it can be null. So source, let's see. Tore my ACL playing football in high school. I was a wide receiver. I was a lineman. Sorry about your ACL, dude. That sucks. How's it doing now? Is it healed up yet? Or bought a MetaQuest 3. So I wish I could make something better than that. That's going to be tough. That's more a hardware thing than a software thing, right? I don't know. It's both. Yeah, I've tried it. It's a lot of fun. Do you have any regrets in your life? Yeah, probably. I mean, what's a regret? Like, probably, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do about them other than go forward better, right? I wish I knew back then what I know now. I'll say that. Water under the bridge, you know, you can't, it's hard to go back. So I spend a lot more time thinking about what I should do in the future than what I did in the past. A lot of the regrets are kind of small though, like getting mad earlier. I wish I didn't do that. Sometimes I eat a cookie and then I regret it, like I could lose the calories. So if it's an array, so it's going to be an array. I think we just do undefined here. So here's the JSON data we're dealing with, and it's dealing with this source attribute. And we're saying if it's an array, we're going to list each of the sources. Otherwise, we're going to push a single source. But here, I want to say if source. What do you think about the economy right now? Is it worse than 2008? No, I don't think so. I mean, we'll see where it goes. If a war starts, that would be worse. But just in terms of like the markets went down, that part alone is not worse. They could make it worse. We'll see where it goes. At the moment, it's not worse. On average. I mean, it's going to be worse for some people and better for other people, you know. Should I have more fun and go to UIUC or try to graduate in 2 years? I can't really say, man. That's going to be up to you, right? I don't know where you're at. I don't know how much money you and your family have. I don't know what your timeline is. But what I would say is this, is the idea that you start working and you can't have fun anymore, I don't believe in that. I think you can get to work and still have fun. So, I think social networking is important. I would definitely take advantage of school and focus on social networking. What was it like in 2008? Well, I went to university and got my economics degree, and I said, man, this economy is garbage, but I know how to fix it. Let me go up to DC. So I came from University of Houston, born and raised around Austin, went to University of Houston, got economics, and then I moved to the DC area where I now live. And nobody wanted to do the right thing in economic policy, basically. It was people trying to get votes. And changing policy is hard, but that's when I discovered technology. So I think it's similar in the sense that politicians were being kind of silly, but a lot of really promising technology was popping up. So I think it's similar in a lot of ways, actually. I just hated my job so much I would cry before I started it. Okay, get a different job then, right? So not all jobs are the same, right? Not all jobs are the same. So understandable if you hate one job, you don't have to go back to that job. You can get a different job. But the idea that you just don't work, that's a bad idea. Okay, so this is the seed. This is going to be, this is like a build fix. What do you recommend then? Social network, get some friends, man. And figure out, try to do stuff, I would say a guess and check approach. So try out some different stuff, figure out what you like, what you don't like. And take it one step at a time. You don't try to plan the rest of your life today. Just plan the next 3 to 6 months. That's what I'd recommend. Does that make sense? Plan the next 3 to 6 months at a time. That would be my advice for you for now. I think there's more to life. I feel like if I keep trusting my gut and keep doing things I love, everything will add up. There's something to that. I mean, you don't want to be random and just do a different thing every day. So I don't know how your gut acts, right? But it's true. Like, you can find something that you enjoy that pays 100%. And technology is going to help you there, because here's the interesting thing about technology. It cuts across industries. So if you worked in farm tech and you hate it, or if you worked in pharmacy and you hated it, there's medical technology, but there's technology in other industries. So there's real estate technology, education technology, manufacturing technology, agriculture technology, military technology. Every field that you could work in, technology is going to be able to apply to all of those. That's one of the things that I like about a tech career, and I like about coding. Plus I can work remotely. So if you like to go on like, trips or whatever, that would be really good for you, honestly. Because like as a younger person, you're trying to like figure out your vibe and whatever. Traveling can help you. So So being remote work friendly can help that. What kind of streams do you usually do? I just subbed. It's tech stuff. It's tech stuff. And that'll, well, it's also social skills. So like professional skills, like communication, stuff like that. Rarely I'll do a gaming stream. That's pretty rare though. It's mostly like career related stuff. Make sense? How do I make something cool if I have to major in econ? Well, I work in financial technology. So banks, you can get an econ degree and get into financial technology. It'll work. So how do I make something cool? Do you have a bank? Do you use a credit card? Do you use a budget app? Like anything related to finance and technology? Boom. There you go. Does that make sense, or should I say more? That's just like a high level answer. If you want details, it's a little bit different. Everyone around me just keep getting internships at like a big 4 firm like KPMG. I mean, you could do it. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do that with an econ degree if you want. It's like, do you want to do that though? I mean, you can try it out and see. Maybe you don't know right now, so just try it out and see. You're not locking yourself in the rest of your life. So if you get an econ degree and then you go to a consulting firm and then you don't like it, you can just change your job. Employers prefer candidates that have a degree. They're much less particular about the field of the degree. I think when I was a senior in high school looking at college, I was told a myth. And I was told that the field of your degree is super, super important. It's actually not that important. The career effect of your lifetime earnings from having a degree in any field is large. Now you want to avoid, for the most part, you probably want to avoid liberal arts. Unless you're like a really talented artist or musician or something. But if you want to actually make money, you want to avoid those. But if you're avoiding those within the remaining degree fields, the effect of which degree is actually pretty small. It's actually pretty small relative to, do you just have a degree, yes or no? Does that make sense? All right, cool, we got the build fixed. Yeah, I don't want to do that boring stuff. I want to do something that changes the whole world, that leaves a dent in the world. I want people to remember me like they do with Jesus. Okay, fire. Well, you could do technology for churches. Like churches, I mean, you go to church, they have their whole audio visual setup. They have websites too. Everyone needs a website though. That's the thing that one of the reasons programming is so flexible, I already told you it works in all industries. It works at almost any company. Any major company is going to have a website, right? Not that they're all equal. Like there's better and worse companies to work at. You can end up working at some company and just really hate their code. That happens a lot. But you can get a job and then move. Like you can figure out your next step. So going back to the whole, yeah, it's good to have a life plan in mind. So it sounds like you have a big goal. Love that. But then work backwards and get a more concrete version in your 3 to 6 months. You want to be remembered. Ooh, I got bad news for you on that. You can get a lot of people to know you. Now we're talking about like maybe social media content creation, being an influencer, whatever. What, do you want to be in a Hollywood movie? What do you want to do? You want to be an author? Even like some of the most, like Plato maybe, I don't know. Even the most important authors, most people forget about them within a generation or so. So you can do something that lasts for a while. It can even outlast your life. You can have a legacy that outlasts your life. But getting something that people are remembering for hundreds and hundreds of years, that's going to be tough, dude. Good luck to you. but I don't know if I can just off the top of my head give you a plan for that. I don't know, some of the stuff Elon Musk is doing will go down in the history books, I think. If he can get to Mars, that'll go down in the history books. So technology can help. Different people remember different stuff too, right? Like, if you work in a coffee shop, you may or may not know who the philosophers are, but if you have a philosophy degree, you're going to know the literature. So you could get into academia, you could get into the literature, and then some people will be familiar with your work for a while. Want to invent something that changes the game? That you can do. That you can do. Make the next iPhone? Facts. Yeah, you can make something that helps a lot of people, and that's what I want to do, right? That's what I'm even trying to do with Latterly. The idea of making a dent in the universe. I think that is more achievable than the idea of having everyone remember you. Because you can help people even if they don't know your name. And that actually happens a lot in technology. You'll be using apps. I just had to file taxes. I used TurboTax, right? But I don't know like the name of the guy that created TurboTax. Z, what up Z? I joined this randomly by chance, but very nice advice. Thank you so much. I'm just spitballing. Like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Also, a lot of what I'm saying is based on my own experience or generic. There's going to be advice for you that's going to be specific to you, but you would need someone that's familiar with your personal history, right? Technology helps people, though. It's a big one. Okay, well maybe I don't know, want me to be remembered. Okay. Look, I don't want to put you on blast or anything, but what's actually more important to you? Helping people or being remembered? Question to consider. If you had to choose, that can help you pick your path. If you had to choose between being, like maybe you should go try to get in a Hollywood movie if you want a lot of people to know your name. I just want to make something that helps people all around the world. Love that. Yeah, I love that. There's a lot of ways to do that. Technology is one. Medicine is one. We need a cure for cancer, right? We need a cure for cancer. I dig it. All right, we got this build fix. I think we're not going to get to the flashcards today. We can do that in the next stream. So the Leetcode tool, right, it's there. It's not great, but it's here. Like, it's usable. Oh, I'm not running my server. Let me turn it back on. What if the government takes me out if I find it? If you find the cure for cancer? The first thing I would say is I bet they won't. Second, you can play a little game with that. You can play a little game with that, Candy. Here's one solution. You ready? If you get a lot of people to know who you are, then there's an incentive for the government not to take you out, right? Because a lot of people will know. So that's one thing you can do is just get known. Get known. The other thing you can do is you can publish anonymously. So again, going back to, do you care if people know your name or do you care if you help people? You can put research out anonymously. Like, think about Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto. It's a fake name. We still don't really know who he is, right? And there's also authors who have gone by pseudonym. So there's ways you can deal with that. And then the third one is like, so what? Like, if you're able to cure cancer and you help a bunch of people and then they take you out, is that really a mission failure? Is that a trade-off you're willing to accept? Because we already talked about helping people is more important than your name being remembered forever. You're not going to live forever anyway, right? So it will be a total bummer if they clip 40 years off you, but it's going to happen at some point anyway. What if I make a technology that takes over the world? That's something people are thinking about with this AI stuff, right? Especially if like someone cuts loose like a super powerful AI. My first reaction is like, save it for the sci-fi movies. Like AI is still overhyped. But if it happens, that'll be kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would need to think about that one a bit more. Elon has the whole let's merge with AI idea. Some people are talking about the ability to like upload your consciousness and live longer that way. I don't know how practical that is, but whatever, you can do some research on it. Why do we live if we're all gonna die? That's a good question. Now you're going back to the philosophy and religion stuff, eh? It's a good question. You should work on that question. I would say go to church. But then you need to face the question, are you going to go to church as like a listener, or is that what you actually want to do for your job? So the job question, here's what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't have your whole, well, shouldn't is a strong word. There is a strategy where you put your whole life identity around your work, and it's risky. I'm not going to say shouldn't, it works for some people. Alex Hormozy is like a total workaholic, but he loves it and it's good for him, I think. I think he's kind of built different though. But there's other options on the table. So you can do that. You can have like a job and then you can have like hobbies, right? And so, do you want your intellectual development to be your job, or do you want your intellectual development to be after 5 p.m.? And Ryan Dickinson has a good point here. He says that open source projects are a good way to help people. 100% agree. Did you hear about there's a company doing surgery where they do the head, what is it called? I don't know what the name of that technique is. Head replacement surgery maybe, or whatever. Medicine is crazy, man. They're doing some crazy stuff. I hope they figure that out. Stephen Hawking's, right? It's just like, dude was just like trapped in his body. Really unfortunate. What if he could have lived longer? That would be cool. All right, chat, this has been pretty fun. Interesting convo over here, but I don't think we're gonna get a lot further. So here's the Leetcode problem tracker. It exists. I want more stuff to be done here, but I think this is a good increment for today's stream. So there is something called measurement as intervention. Okay, I actually picked this up most recently from Alex Hormozy, who we just mentioned. Just by tracking your Leetcode, you're going to get better at Leetcode. Just by tracking your weight, people will tend to lose weight. Just by looking at the scale daily. Finances, just by doing a regular budget. This is like a Dave Ramsey tip. Just do the budget. Other people say this too. So measurement itself is an intervention, and that's the key value proposition, that's the low-hanging fruit value proposition for the problem tracker. So not just checking the box, but I also want to be able to tell people like, hey, did you do a Leetcode problem this week? So that will be the next feature that we do, is like maybe a reminder system or reporting. And so here I talk about reports. Reports. So one of those reports will be, and maybe reminders. And so that will be the way that we get a measurable treatment effect here to actually help people with their Leetcode. What if there's too much people on Earth? Well, maybe we should go to Mars, huh? Great chatting with you, Candy. Thanks for being here. Candy says, what should be the next thing I buy, by the way, or should I save my money? I don't know. I still don't know that much about you, right? So again, I'll go back to, if you want my detailed advice that's specific to you, I would say we need to talk more, so you can book a session or you can join the Discord. General idea is that college would be a good investment of some sort, right? It could be associates or something like that. Maybe you should do a boot camp. Maybe though. I'm not sure. I need to talk to you more, but that could be an option. And saving is always pretty solid. So what I would say, should you buy or should you save? I would say do both if you can, but that's going to depend on your financial situation. So getting a job is probably going to help you either way. You really like this Elon guy, huh? I don't know. He's a well-known figure in tech, and he's clearly influential. I think that's why I brought him up. I'm not necessarily crazy about him. We'll see if he can get Trump to take those tariffs off. If he can get Trump to take those tariffs off, I'll approve of that action anyway. That's the deal with people, right? I don't like to say, you know, this guy is good or bad. I like, even with my own kids, I don't want my kids to think, oh, I'm like a good person, whatever I do doesn't matter. I'm a bad person, whatever I do doesn't matter. I want them to think about their actions. So I try not to judge people. I try to judge actions and outcomes more than people, right? Maybe that's a good note to end on. Thanks so much for being here, y'all.